Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Superhero time is on hiatus for the next few weeks, meaning we won't have any weekly where are we going with that? Kira Major and Kamen Rider 01 episodes to watch for the next few weeks. So I thought it would be fun to do a video with some recommendations for some shows to watch during the hiatus. Rather than doing a traditional top 5, I'm going to do a couple different top mini lists within this video. I'm going to do top 3 Sentai shows I recommend, top 3 writer ones, and then top 3 sort of other that are sort of related but also not. But so let's start with Sentai. So coming in at number 3, I'm going to recommend Uchu Sentai Kyuranger. I know that like almost every season, some people have mixed feelings on it, but I found that to be a very enjoyable show. It can start off a little bit generic, but once it gets going, I found it to be very enjoyable. It really kind of had a very serialized arc-to-arc momentum. Definitely some mixed bag aspects to it, but I thought it had a very enjoyable cast, especially Commander. A lot of stuff to enjoy within that series, and I think it's kind of a good, fun, all-around Sentai experience. You know, I was having a few rough years watching Sentai there before that, and I felt like it really brought me back into enjoying it. So I think it's a fun, enjoyable ride that you can experience during this time. Number 2, I would say, is Tokume Sentai GoBusters, which is obviously the inspiration for the current Power Rangers series Beast Morphers. So if you're interested in checking out the source material for that, it's one of my personal favorite Sentais. I think it has some of the best story and character development and villain stuff, so I think that's definitely worth a look. And number 1, I want to recommend the most underrated Dino Sentai, which is Bakuru Sentai Aba Ranger, especially since, oddly enough, I just did the video about how Sentai DVDs are currently canceled at the moment, right before we got to that series. But I wanted to recommend that one because I've mentioned previously, I think it gets very overlooked. It's kind of, even though like Dino Thunder and stuff is well known, it's kind of the awkward stepchild of the Dino Sentai, because, you know, you have Zyuranger as being mega recognizable because of MMPR, Kyoryuger was hugely popular, Ryusoulger was very recent, and now it's going to be the source for next year's Power Rangers, so it's on a lot of people's minds. So Aba Ranger often gets left in the shuffle, and I think it's a very well-rounded Sentai show, also with good story beats, good character stuff, interesting mythology, but also a ton of Sentai wackiness, and it's like an almost perfect blend for me, and I think it's very underrated. Now, for writer, my personal 3 picks are number 3, Kamen Rider Build. I think that was a really great series. Some little bit nitpicks there at the end, but I think it had some really fantastic momentum and mysteries, which is some of my favorite things about the Rider franchise, and absolutely an amazing cast. I love the chemistry with them, the humor. It was another one of those series that I think was really well balanced at lots of the different elements and quirks of toku that I enjoy. It's certainly a pretty popular recent one, but if you haven't checked it out, I definitely recommend giving it a go during this hiatus. Number 2, another personal favorite of mine, kind of a generic choice for a lot of people, but is Gaim. That was a surprisingly amazing series, full of some really excellent character development and story, and just surprisingly in-depth. And it was kind of more of a return to that darker, moody feel that Rider used to have amongst sort of new Rider. And so it's a really cool series that, you know, I know it's been a little bit overhyped, but kind of try to tune out anything anyone's saying and tune out the fact that they're fruit warriors and give it a shot. I think it's a cool one. Now, number 1 for Rider is a bit of an old school pick, which is Kamen Rider Agito, if you want to get a flavor for sort of the older Heisei era stuff, where it used to have a little bit more of a dramatic mood and mystery, and there was just a certain different feel to it. Agito is one of my personal older favorites because it really had that sort of gotta watch the next episode factor because I enjoyed the mystery, but it's also got some really enjoyable characters in there as well. Now, for 3 sort of outside the box choices, one of them is Sentai related, so number 3's like outside of a series pick is Super Sentai Strongest Battle. I know this is Sentai related, but if you don't remember, that was a mini-series that lasted for a handful of episodes between Lupat and Ryusoulger that was like a crossover episode that dealt with 5 Rangers from various seasons being picked to fight in this, like, basically battle royale, and it featured a lot of cameos from different Sentai characters, both in and out of suit, did some tie-ins for Ryusoulger, and it was honestly just a fun time, especially since the hiatus is only a few weeks, and if you don't feel you have time to watch one of these full-on series, but you want to get a toku fix in between, that's honestly a really fun time, and I really enjoyed it more than I thought because I'm kind of exhausted at the manufactured crossovers that I feel have very little effort put into them, and this was surprisingly good. It had some good character beats, a pretty decent storyline. I liked the teasing of Ryusoulger's plot. It's just kind of a fun, more quick Sentai experience if you don't like want to commit to watching a full 45 plus episode series. Number 2 is Tokusatsu Gagaga. If you don't know, it was kind of a more like hour-long or 40-minute long, I believe it was, right? The episodes were 30 minutes, but it was a different kind of sort of slice of life drama series. I don't know if we would call it a drama series, but it was about a young girl that is a tokusatsu fan, an adult tokusatsu fan, and her sort of navigating the awkwardness of being a geek and being a tokusatsu fan as an adult. It was so charming, so endearing, and so relatable, like right down to insults, like when she was mad at an employee, she said, you know, I hope your show gets preempted by golf for the next 3 weeks, which is a very like specific insult that only Toku fans would understand, as we know Sentai and Writer are often delayed by, you know, golf or something weird like that. So I highly recommend that show. It was really a cool breath of fresh air, and then if you're any sort of a Tokusatsu fan, I think you can appreciate it. My number 1 pick is just regular shows, you know, Better Call Saul, The Office, you know, something from the Arrowverse, Doom Patrol. Like, there's literally dozens of options that are outside of Toku that like eclipse most of the Toku shows that I'm even recommending, and there's just a ton of awesome TV shows to check out. You know, The 100, that's a very underrated show, so, you know, there is a lot of other TV shows out there to fill the time with that are non-Toku related, but I have plenty of other, you know, videos if you want a Toku fix, but that's kind of what I'm going to be doing, is just watching normal TV shows. But that is it for my list. If you have any other personal recommendations for people to watch during the hiatus, drop them down in the comments so that people can check those out and maybe have some other picks. And honestly, just another general pick is not a specific one, but just kind of take a look at the Sentai writer or other tokusatsu or other shows, and just, this is like generic advice, but just pick what interests you. I get asked that question well, quite a lot, of like what Sentai or writer you recommend starting with, and because they don't have a chronological continuity really, you can really just pick whichever one interests you and try not to let other people's opinions influence you, because there's some shows that are mega popular that you might not like, but there's some that people might tell you are awful but you might love. So just kind of take a look and see what interests you is the best advice I can give you. But until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications from my videos. Till next time, thanks guys, Dawson Ryder, signing out.